In this video, we are going to see some tricks on solving quadratic equations. Okay, let me consider the quadratic equation x square positive 5x positive 6 equals to 0. Okay, let me solve this quadratic equation in a regular way, and then I'll explain you the trick to get answer for the same quadratic equation a bit more quickly. Okay, so look at the coefficient of x square in this quadratic equation, that is 1. Okay, in that case we just consider the constant term we have in the quadratic equation, that is positive 6. Now you have to get two factors for positive 6 so that the sum of the two factors is equal to the middle term positive 5. So then we have positive 2 and positive 3. So when you multiply positive 2 and positive 3, that is equal to positive 6, and when you add them you get positive 5, that is the middle term or the coefficient of x. Now the next step what we will do is x square, we will write this positive 5x in terms of these two factors positive 2 and positive 3. Then we get positive 2x, then positive 3x, positive 6 is equal to 0. Okay, now we can factor this expression by grouping. I consider the first two terms in one group, the next two terms in another group. So the common divisor of the terms in the first group is just x. So the x is a common divisor for x square and 2x. So x can be factored. So if x is factored, we get x plus 2 inside the parenthesis, and the greatest common divisor for the terms inside the second parenthesis is just 3. So 3 is a common divisor for 3x and 6. So 3 can be factored. If 3 is factored, we get x plus 2 inside the second parenthesis. Okay, now we have two terms. The common divisor of these two terms is x plus 2. So x plus 2 can be factored. If you factor x plus 2, you have only x in the first term and plus 3 in the next term. So we get x plus 3 equals to 0. Now we have the product of two binomials x plus 2 and x plus 3 is equal to 0. If the product of two values is equal to 0, one of the values must be 0, then only the product can be 0. So since the product of the two binomials is equal to 0, either the first binomial equals to 0 or the second binomial equals to 0. Okay, now we have a equation, we have two equations, x plus 2 is equal to 0, x plus 3 is equal to 0. So to solve this equation for x, just subtract 2 from both sides. When you do it, so the positive 2 negative 2 will cancel out, we get x is equal to negative 2, and to solve this equation you just subtract 3 from both sides, then we get x is equal to negative 3. Okay, we solve the given quadratic equation x square positive 5x positive 6 in a regular way. Okay, instead of doing all these steps, we can get answer, that is we can find the two values of x for this quadratic equation bit more quickly. So that is, after getting the two factors for the constant of positive 6, that is the two factors are positive 2 and positive 3, just have to do a simple work to get the two values of x, that is you have to change the sign of these two factors, then we have negative 2 negative 3. So these are the two values of x. So you don't have to do all these works, simply we can find the two factors of the constant term. Once you get the factors of the constant term, change the sign of the two factors, then we get x is equal to negative 2 and x is equal to negative 3. So these are the two values of x. So in competitive exam we can do this trick to get answer, to solve any quadratic equation quickly. Let's look at another example. We have a quadratic equation x square minus 5x minus 24 is equal to 0. Okay, in this quadratic equation also the coefficient of x square is 1. So we can take the constant term, that is negative 24. Okay, you just find two factors for negative 24 so that the sum of the two factors is equal to the middle term negative 5, which is the coefficient of x. Then we have negative 8 positive 3. When you multiply negative 8 and positive 3, that is equal to negative 24, and also when we add them, that is equal to negative 5, which is a middle term. Okay, now to get the two values of x of this quadratic equation, simply change the sign of the two factors, then the negative 8 will become positive 8, positive 3 will become negative 3. So the two values of x are positive 8 and negative 3. That's it. Let's look at another example. Consider the quadratic equation 2x square positive 11x positive 15. Please notice in this quadratic equation the coefficient of x square is not 1, which is 2. So in that case what we need to do is we have to multiply this constant by this coefficient of x square. So here the constant is plus 15. So when it is multiplied by the coefficient of x square, that is 2, we get positive 30. So the other process are same. That is, you have to get two factors for positive 30, so that the sum of the two factors is equal to the middle term positive 11. Then we get positive 6, positive 5. Okay, now what we need to do is, since the coefficient of x square is 2, we have to divide both the factors by 2. That is, we have to divide both the factors by the coefficient of x square, that is 2. When you divide positive 6 by 2, we get positive 3. And 5 cannot be divided by 2, so it has to be kept as it is. Okay, now to get the two values of x, simply change the sign of these two factors and we get negative 3, negative 5 over 2. So the two values of x in this quadratic equation are negative 3 and negative 5 over 2. Let us look at another example. We have a quadratic equation 6x square positive 20x positive 16 is equal to 0. Here in this quadratic equation, when we look at the coefficient of x square, coefficient of x and the constant term, everything is a multiple of 2. So better you divide the whole equation by 2 to make the number smaller. So I divide everything by 2. When I do it, so I get 3x square positive 10x positive 8 equals to 0. Okay, now the coefficient of x square is 3, so we can multiply this 3 on the constant of positive 8, we get positive 24. Okay, now we have to get two factors for positive 24, so that the sum of the two factors is equal to positive 10. Then we get positive 6, positive 4. Okay, now the coefficient of x square is not 1 and it is 3. So we divide both these factors by the coefficient of x square, that is 3. When I divide 6 by 3, I get positive 2 and I cannot divide 4 by 3, it has to be kept as it is. So then the two values of x are negative 2 and negative 4 over 3.